Hello, everybody. My name is Gregory Payne. This is my fourth attempt of trying to get this in, so I think hopefully I'll have enough to get it down. First and foremost, when I try to include the video as well as I've been hitting the mark that's making it too large, so I will include two links. One for you to watch the commercial that we'll talk about on its own, and then this one, which will be the YouTube link that includes the video itself. I want to preface by saying if you haven't seen the commercial, you are not alone yet, then please check that out first. Pause this video and then go watch that because I don't want to kill the commercial for you to see. But as we're talking about it, I'm talking about the semiotics of that video. First and foremost, when we talk about that video, I want to talk about the signs and signifiers of the commercial that is shown, and then according to the video that we seen in the module, talk about the missing scene, the sound, the camera work, and the editing that went into making this a powerful video. First and foremost, when I talk about this video and the reason I chose this video, as a mental health professional, I work with at-risk youth who struggle with behavioral and mental health issues. And so this was very powerful and impactful for me because it affects what I do for a living. But I think the commercial in itself really hit the meaning and the message that it was intending to address the issues and the stigmas about mental health, especially male mental health, when we talk about the video. And so as we get into it, trying to not make this too long or lengthy, the 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 sign or the individual, the team that created this video is from the Norwich City Football Club. This is although it's a football club, this is over in the United Kingdom, over in England for Norwich City. It's an English football club or English soccer team that this is their logo. And when you talk about the sign, you see it. Anybody who is familiar, we might not be as familiar with it, but overseas in London, you see that and you know it's Norwich City. However, though, when that video comes in and we talk about the sign is what it stands for, the signifier is the cultural or the different cultural meaning that other people put on it. Depending on when you look at the signifiers, you can look at it and see it as a historical soccer team, as this is a team that has been around. It's been a professional soccer team for 121 years now. So you see that logo, it becomes synonymous with their soccer accolades. You can see this logo and see it being an allegiance to the city of Norwich because the top left corner of the logo with the castle and the lion, that is actually from the coat of arms for the city of Norwich. So it has the ties to that city. But even if you don't follow that soccer team, it can kind of give you the sense that it's about Northwich because Northwich is famous for breeding canaries, hence the big yellow canary that's standing on the soccer ball. And their team name being the Canaries because canaries are bred in Norwich. You can also see that logo and see them as damn dirty cheaters. I'm not saying that, but Ipswich, which is the complete rival of Norwich, is that's what they might see them as, especially because Ipswich, when I did some research, has not beaten them in soccer in 15 years now. It was 2009 was the last time that Ipswich win. So if you see this logo and you're an Ipswich fan, you might look at it and have a negative connotation, or some people look at it and they might think of Mike Bassett, England manager. That was a movie that came out in 2001. And so it was a mockumentary, but it was kind of a comical movie that focused on manager of the team. And so it had kind of satirical connotations if you saw it. But as of lately, especially after that commercial, people see that logo and they associate it with mental health advocacy because although this commercial aired 5 months ago, it had a huge impact, and we'll talk about that later on. When we talk about the Mrs. Scene, and as it's described in the video, that's the focus on everything within the scene. You see a lot of intentional close focus on that seating perspective. So when you look at it, this is a commercial that was created just to draw your attention to the individuals, those two gentlemen who were in the film from the very beginning. and it has a very narrow focus on them. One of the great aspects that really drew me in about this commercial is that when you go to a soccer game, you're thinking the action on the field. You might be thinking like the fans and everything. And the way that this film or this commercial was created, it was laser focusing on these two individuals, which make you feel as if, okay, when it comes to them, they're the focal point. So it immediately kind of draws you into their story. You also get to pick up on certain things like the color scheme, the mannerisms, where as the commercial develops and once you see the commercial in its entirety, you see that when you're visually looking at the screen, the individual on your right unfortunately takes his own life as is a suicide prevention commercial. But when you watch the commercial in its entirety, you kind of walk away thinking like, okay, from the black that the gentleman on the left is always wearing, the fact that he's continually biting his nails, the fact that he seems disengaged, he's not, always cheering when everybody else is cheering, which makes you think maybe he's not paying close attention to the game. The fact that he's always giving one word answers when the gentleman on the right is talking to him. All of those were done perfectly, from the brightness of the color on the person on the right to the black and the ominous colors on the person to the left, from their personality traits where the person on the right appears to be the extrovert and the person on the left seems more introverted, from the level of engagement and the way that they're always kind of laughing, the guy on the right is laughing and jovial. It's all done because from the very beginning, once you read the kind of the disclaimer, you walk away knowing, okay, this is about mental health and mental health struggles. It's all done strategically to kind of paint that initial picture that the person on the left is the person who's struggling with coping. And then the big plot twist at the end is you find out the person who you thought was the one who was missing all the signs was the person who had all the signs that were missed because he was the one who did it, which was great because it kind of hits a theme that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Then when we focus on the sound, first and foremost, you see the sounds of the game. You see them cheering. You hear the roar of the crowd, which it draws you in. Especially remember, this commercial is filmed in London or in England. And so when you see soccer, if I were to turn on this commercial in the middle of the field, it draws me into the commercial because I'm seeing a soccer match. I'm seeing all these things that really heighten in there. And so that was all done strategically because it's trying to create a scenario in which it's not have you don't have to have a morbid talk to get to know the person next to you. You can do so in a fun loving environment. You also hear the sounds of the dialogue, and when it goes to kind of help paint that scene that the person in the left is struggling, it's all one word answers. When the guy is trying to engage and say, "Oh, how was your weekend?" Engage, or "Did you have fun? You have any big plans?" It's just one word answers. He seemed disengaged. And then one of the big aspects of this commercial are the ominous piano tones. Very much like in a horror movie where the ominous tones let you know that somebody's about to die or the bad guy's about to pop out from a bush or whatever the case may be. From the very beginning, although all this lively crowd and interaction is going, there's an ominous tone that kind of lets you know, okay, yeah, reading the disclaimer, something's going to happen. And although it's created in a way to make you think the person on the left is going to be the person who's having issues, you come to find out that the person on the right does. Only when those ominous piano tones stop is when you really realize that, oh my goodness, the person that I thought for the entire minute and 30 seconds leading into this commercial is not the individual who's actually struggling with the mental health needs. So that was done masterfully to kind of let you know when that plot twist comes up, it's not always what you anticipate it being. When you look at the plot, the camera work, I thought this was great because first and foremost, it has just that fan only perspective. Again, like I said, it's not focusing on the game, it's just focusing on these two. So it draws you in that the entire time, these are the people I need to focus on. Everybody else is kind of white noise that they add to the scene, but it's just checking on the dialogue and the non soccer, the non football action that's going on. And you see the way they engage, even when there's time to celebrate, and there's, they're standing up, they're cheering, they're excited, they're high-fiving. It's just focused in that specific camera angle that's occurs when they're sitting down, when they have an opportunity to talk to one another. If any of you all ever go to a sporting event or you see something like that, it's not uncommon to see that the person who, you can only have that dialogue when there's a stoppage in play, when it's not going on. So it's really kind of creating and letting you focus on the missed opportunities of connection between these two individuals. And then, that camera angle never leaving, because it's always focused on just that perspective of where it was, which lets you know it's not about the game that you miss, it's about that deep connection that was missed opportunity. And when we get to the editing, the scene jumps from the ups and downs of a season. It goes from scene to scene to scene, which paints that scene that, maybe this was an entire soccer team that they got to get to know one another, and all those signs were missed until the plot twist at the end, in which the one time where everybody else kind of gets involved or even is recognized with those other is where they're consoling the guy on the left. The guy in the very back who's wearing the gray sweatshirt even puts a hand on the shoulder of the gentleman who's wearing the black, because it's almost like, man, not only did he miss it, but everybody else who shared in that season with them missed it as well. And so I felt this was a very iconic and powerful takeaway, because although it's a soccer team, their message wasn't about soccer, but it was about the narrative of the things that are going on, which was pressing in that time. I say that because, when you look at the stigma of mental health, especially in men, men are the people who don't talk about mental health. Men are the individuals who are supposed to be the stereotypical strong, solid, unflinching, unwavering individuals. But again, focusing on this being in London, it was perfect for the environment they serve, because when I looked into it and why they came up with this, you see that mental health issues in the UK are a big issue. This is directly from the Office of the United Kingdom. But in 2021, when the concept of this video came up, there were 5,000 suicides registered in England, three-quarters of which were associated to men, and that's the biggest cause of death in men under the age of 50 in the UK. So it's not obesity, it's not gun violence or things like that that we might be familiar with in the States. It's suicide. So this video was created specifically to kind of highlight. And so that's why it focused on those two men, because it sets that scene that, anybody and everybody should be checking on those people next to it. So it really was a powerful, impactful message that it was looking for. And when you look at the perspectives of the football team, and when they created the video that "You Are Not Alone," it was impactful, and it's something that resonated, because although this video was out for 5 months, it got over 55 million views, and agencies reached out about readily being able to access this video and share it. So I'm sorry I went over a little bit of my time, but when we talk about those, all of this came to make a very impactful video that talked about the importance of, although, the soccer is fun, there's missed opportunities when you don't make that connection, and all those little things help make that a powerful, impactful video in the end. Thank you for your time. Take care.